Hi everyone, welcome to Under the Bodhi Tree with Navin Wadhwani. Today I have with me Navin Wadhwani, who is the investment banking head at JP Morgan India. So Naveen also has experience as chief and head of the M&A team in Reliance Industries and was also the investment head at Rothschild. So, Naveen, you are also an avid runner and an elite athlete. Naveen has finished three Ironmans, one in Ireland, one in South Africa, and one in Australia, and that is absolutely phenomenal. It's an honor to interview you, Naveen, and thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Arun. Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Yeah. So Naveen, before I proceed, I would just like to tell you that this show is mainly for all of the youngsters out there. The Gen Zs and the millennials, as they call us, high school students, college students. So on that note, Naveen, what were you like in high school? And if I would take you a few years back and tell you to spend 10 hours on a project, what would you spend it on?
So, Arun, unlike a lot of the other leaders who you kind of interviewed, in terms of my profile in high school, was very different. I was a very average student.
Right? No, I mean, most of the people I've interviewed have given the same thing.
So I'll
It's,
just share with you that very average student.
right,
And academics was actually something which I started focusing only after my 12th grade.
right.
And it was just a happy child and enjoying my journey all the time. So that was what I was when I was in high school. It was only once I kind of got into college and got into getting my professional degrees done, that's where the kind of the seriousness on academics started. Till that time, it was just live happy and be happy. So to your point about how that transition happens, actually is it's not about what you do in school, what you do in college, what you do every day, every hour for the next 40 years, because the journey has just started for somebody like you or for any of the millennials. It has just started. So the way I look at it is we all have 12 hours in a day. How constructive we use them, how effectively we use them, how focused we are in those 12 hours every day for the next 40 years, you will have a great career. So a lot of people say, hey, if you don't get good grades in 12, or if you don't get good grades in undergrad, hey, you're done with it, you don't have a career. I disagree with that. I feel as long as you're putting every time and every hour in a proper way, and there will be chances you will sometimes fail, sometimes win. So to answer your question, I was a very average student when I was in the undergrad.
Right.
And in terms of a project, if you all talked about a 10-hour project that I would do, see, look, I believe, if I had the same exposure as you all have, like we came from a middle class family, we didn't have that much exposure, there was no internet, there was no information, there was very limited media. But if I had to unwind the clock and kind of be there, I would actually do something in terms of the society. I would like to do a 10-hour project for a society in terms of if I can give back about my learnings, what I would have done there. So that's what I would kind of position myself for this 10-hour project, for something for the society. It could be education for the children, or it could be, also trying to, help a student understand and learn more about what's happening in life. So I would like to do that project. Yeah.
Right. So that's extremely inspirational, Naveen. As you can see, an average student to one of the young leaders of the world who controls today's economy. That's extremely inspirational, Naveen. So you spoke about consistency, putting in 12 hours every day, and like you've completed Ironman thrice, and you are also the investment banking head at JP Morgan. So how do you handle this, Naveen? Where does the magic come from?
There is no magic. There is only simple baby steps.
Right.
I call them baby steps. Every day you take your baby steps, keep going ahead. You will have. I always tell everybody, if you are a good individual, you will have a bad hour, a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, but you can't have bad life. So as long as you're putting in very solid time in whatever that you do. So like people ask me this question, that how do you manage work and how do you manage
Right.
this fitness? See, it's all about putting that 12 hours, and I break that 12 hours very, very systematically. I'll spend time working, family, and health. all these three things, if you try and I every day have a to do. Even today morning, being a Sunday, I have put a to do of what I am going to do. And one of the things was to actually also engage with you. Today was there in that to do because I had to give that 30-minute slot.
Wow.
So I put that. So idea is to be very organized, and once you, there's always a method behind the madness. You know, there's always method behind the madness. As long as you follow those methods, and there is no such perfect method. Methods keep evolving. You keep learning from them. You make mistakes. You do your trial and error. Find a new method, and then that works. So I have had long hours, late hours of work, but I still manage to take time out because, you know, like a lot of people say, hey, I have a lot of work, I work late night, you know, I work, you know, till 10, 11 in the night, and you know, when do you find time to get to train? So I actually introspected my work schedule, and I found that when I was working beyond 9:30 p.m. on any particular day, and I looked at my data sets, and I found that 9 out of 10 times I was working beyond 9:30 p.m. was not to service my profession, but service my insecurity. Meaning that work could have been done in the morning next day, but I thought let me finish it because either my client will think, hey, look, you know, he's not working hard or he's not being proactive. But no, it was actually, yes, there are times that 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 times that you need to finish that work at 9:30, 10, 11, 12, 1 in the morning, no problem. But that's only 1 or 2 times in the 10 times that you will see. So I'm very disciplined. Like I'll keep my all emails ready by 9:30. If I have to send them out, I won't punch a sent email that time because there will be a response coming at that time. Then again you need to talk about it. I'll keep them ready. When I get up at 5:30 in the morning for my training, I just press the punch button, and nobody is awake at that time to read that. But when they get up, they have my juniors, my clients, my peers have them. So you send them at 5:30 in the morning, they are sleeping, it's their problem, they haven't read it. So it's just you follow these simple methods and it works out. And you know, other thing which I'll tell you, Arman, and this is something that you should keep it with you for your life, is that human body is an amazing machine. This God has made this amazing machine. The way you mold it, you can be a vegetable or you can be a Ironman. Meaning the way you mold it. If you will sleep 12 hours, the body will make you feel that you need 12 hours. But if you will sleep 7 hours, the body will say, I'm fresh after 7 hours. So it is all about how you engineer your body, how you train your body, how you train your mind, and then output comes. So I travel a lot. I carry my shoes everywhere, and you know, wherever I'll get time in the morning, I'll go and run. So and on weekends usually I train more longer in terms of my swims or my bikes. So it is all about finding time in what you like, and it works out. It is an excuse people give that I have a lot of stressful work. It's, you know, I have a very unscheduled lifestyle in terms of I get driven by my client meetings or by my bosses. I think these are just negative thoughts. These are just excuses. If you just nail them down, you will find 9 out of 10 times you don't need to do this. If you can't finish work from 9 in the morning till 9 in the night, then you are probably, maybe in the Prime Minister of India can't be, it's so busy, right? So to answer your question, you can find time as long as you're organized, you're disciplined, and you're using this perishable currency of 12 hours, which comes every day to the morning to you, very effectively.
Right. It's really insightful how, like, you know, people think that days just go by, but you utilize every single second of it, and you are like very spiritually evolved as well. You look at your insecurities inside of you at the moment, how you act, your mental and physical strength as well. It's really incredible, Navin. And you've had, you know, 3 decades of experience in investment banking, working for, you know, Reliance Industries, JP Morgan, Rothschild.
Rothschild, yes.
Yeah. So, Navin, and you've also, I think, made like $60 billion worth of transactions in M&As. So could you tell us some of the challenges you encountered during these transactions?
So look, you know, investment banking or M&A, equity capital markets or helping clients in raising money, doing transactions is very complex.
Right.
Because these are irreversible situations. You don't buy or sell a business every day.
Right.
You don't raise capital for the company every day. So these are irreversible decisions. If you buy a business, it sticks with you. If you
Right.
sell a business, you've sold it.
Right.
If you're raising $1 billion for somebody in the market, it's a huge capital that you're raising for them, right? So these decisions are not only complex from a perspective of strategy, finance, execution, market, but they're also very, very, I would say, sensitive when it comes to emotions of the people.
Yeah.
Because they are really taking these decisions like once in lifetime or maybe once in 10 years kind of decisions. So there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of I would say emotions come into play. So when you're dealing with a client, or even when I was in Reliance, I was effectively doing it for the company. So you end up being in very complex situations, and the challenges are not just how you try and solve for a market or you solve for a particular issue. It is about making sure that you're getting the right price if you're selling the asset, or if you're buying for a client, you're buying at the right price, or you're going to the market to raise capital at the right time, where you're able to raise the capital and at a price which satisfies. So there are a lot of variables, and then there are variables around technology, regulations, markets, which keep kind of moving the goalpost. So you have to actually be able to balance all these challenges. It is not just about saying that okay, there is a client and you need to go and buy or sell a business for him. So you have to talk about the industry, the company, the business, the markets, the regulator, the employees.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, when you buy or sell a business, you're actually moving employees also.
Right.
So there may be trade unions, there may be issues around the fact there are major litigations that the company is going through. So you need to look at all the challenges, all the variables around it. So first of all, I want to just bring that context to you, that it looks reasonably straightforward when you say, hey, I'm going in. When you actually, if you just go and buy a refrigerator, we just still see three things, right? And when you go and buy a business, buy a company, you're buying people, you're buying contracts, you're buying assets, you're taking over litigations, you're doing so many things in that. So it's a complex decision. So what happens is that when you are looking at the challenges are multifold. As I said, you need to manage the client reasonably well, for that he has the reasonable understanding of these issues, and you're managing his anxiety and his emotions. Plus on top of that, you're making sure that you're moving with a speed that it is required to be done, so that you don't lose out on the opportunity. It's also about the timing. But at the same time, when you're looking at the speed, it is not just about that you just go and do it with speed, but there are times when you have to also decide when to pause and when not to do and when to do. So all these things come into play. So apart from being technically sound, knowing all the stuff that you need to know, you need to have that maturity, patience, balance, wisdom and foresight to be able to execute these complex situations. So that's how I look at it. And when you're looking at cross-border transactions, then comes the other element of cultural diversity. Diversity of how people think, how people live and execute there. So if you're trying to acquire a business from here into Japan, will be very different from the way you would deal with when you're acquiring a company from India to UK or to the US, because culturally very different. When you're doing a transaction with a Chinese, there are huge language barriers. So those are the challenges that you have to again go through. So you have to be sure as to what you are relaying to the person, and the person who's interpreting it for you, is it being said rightly so. So there are a lot of these challenges that come, but that makes it very interesting. It makes it more dynamic. It makes it more, a lot of learning for everybody. For everybody it's a lot of learning, because you're dealing with a lot of variables that are not in your control. So allows you to be more nimble, allows you to be more agile, and then brings in that whole physical and mental endurance into you to try and make sure that you navigate through this and get it done. That's how I would summarize the whole basket of challenges.
Right, Naveen, that's very insightful. And JP Morgan is actually the most valuable bank in the world, with assets over $3.3 trillion. So Naveen, leveraging your global resources and your local experience in this field, how do you think you can help all of Indian companies raise capital in debt and equity capital markets?
So look, first of all, I am a big believer of India.
Yeah.
India is, for the next 25, 30 years, is going to just keep growing.
Right.
If we just put some numbers into play, and why I'm putting this is that will also show how we as JP Morgan think about it. India is today around $3.4 trillion
Right.
economy. If you really look at the estimates by the government, in the next 25 years, i.e. in the next 100 years of our independence, since the time we are in the 75th year of independence, we would be around $34 trillion economy. So we are talking about 9 times increase in our GDP.
Right.
And our GDP per capita, which is around $2,300 today, would be around $24,000.
Right.
Again, you're talking about 9 to 10 times increase in the GDP per capita. And all this will happen only when you have manufacturing in India, the service sector, which has been the backbone of Indian growth,
and it is growing, right? Like more
continues,
people are coming from agriculture to
to
this
grow.
sector.
Then third thing is clearly the whole tech and the technology play will be a big impetus. So and then the last thing, which is the biggest strength of India, is the whole consumption-led growth. We have been always as a country a consumption-led growth. So with 1.3 billion people, you are literally the biggest market in the world, right? And growing and aspirational. And with all the technology connectivity that we have today, which was not the case 4 or 5 years ago, means India is going to grow.
And it's a young population as well, right?
Absolutely. So if we are going to grow this way, now there will be corporates which will, from small to medium size, will become medium to large size corporates. There are so many financial sponsors, private equity houses, which are already investing in India. Global financial sponsors who are investing in India. There are global corporates which are coming and investing in India, setting up business in India. So for JP Morgan, all these are clients. So we want to target each and every client in India, whether it is a financial sponsor, private equity, or whether it is an Indian corporate, mid-sized corporate becoming a large-sized corporate, or even multinationals who are expanding their base in India. So for us as JP Morgan, we would provide them full services, right, from investment banking to corporate banking to payments to markets to security services, all of that. I don't know whether you know, and very few people know, is that India is the second largest place for JP Morgan outside of US in terms of the employee strength. We have 55,000 employees in India, JP Morgan employees, on the rolls of JP Morgan. So they service on technology, compliance, operations to the entire globe. So India is a big market for JP Morgan. JP Morgan continues to be pretty, positive about India. And the idea is to keep growing and servicing clients across the spectrum of clients that I just mentioned to you.
Right. That's excellent, Naveen. And speaking of growth, growth also sometimes puts pressure on the environment. So JP Morgan has actually pledged $2 billion till 2025 for environment restoration and to move more towards sustainability. So could you tell us more about this?
See, look, again, I think in terms of environment, every corporate citizen has to deploy capital and provide that support. And I think as you rightly said, there is growth, there will be growth, and if there is growth, we need to also take care of the environment where we live in, right? And it is proven over time that the amount of carbon emissions that we have, and I think it's now become pretty clear globally, across corporates, across countries, across continents, that this is a subject that we need to all take it very seriously. And that's why if you see any corporate or any country is going through the whole energy transition plan, is going through the whole process of wanting to make sure that capital is deployed. So just to give you some further statistics, around I would say around what 500 I'm not able to get my numbers right, but the amount of capital that we are deploying today globally
Right.
means as all the countries
All
put
the-
together,
yeah.
that is only going to get 3 times more,
Okay.
okay, in the next 15 years.
Wow.
And of which right now China is deploying the most
Right.
in terms of the whole energy transition, whether it
Yeah.
is setting a manufacturing basis for solar panels, hydrogen, wind, all of that, batteries, energy storage. Now, if you really look at it, the all other countries, okay, are beginning to increase this. So yeah, so around I would say $600 billion per annum is being spent, which will go up to $1.5 trillion per annum to be spent on energy transition. So that's important play, and I think every corporate needs to do, and even in India, corporates are doing that. That's being a good corporate citizen.
Right. So Naveen, to end the interview on a good note, could you give some words of advice to the younger generations listening to us?
So look, I think be good,
Right.
uh, work hard. There's no substitute to working hard. I think the hunger to learn is the central to growth. As long as you have a hunger to learn every day, I think you are sorted in life. Because a lot of times we feel, hey, if we finish this exam, we are done with it. No, or we finish this particular degree, or I take up this job, I'm done with it. My career is on the road. No, the hunger to learn is a daily decision, and that decision needs to be implemented daily. So as long as you follow that, I think your you your success path as a human being is all set.
Right. So thank you, Naveen. Just now we'll have a this or that round. Just a few personal questions for you.
Sure.
So tea, coffee, or smoothie?
Tea.
Be on a small team or a large one?
I would prefer a small but a high impact team.
Right. Sing in front of your co-workers or dance?
Both.
But you have to choose one. It's this or that.
Dance.
Right. Skydiving or snowboarding?
Snowboarding.
Fastest man on earth or the smartest man on earth?
The smartest one.
Teleport or read minds?
Read minds.
Give up your dreams and live comfortably or struggle and be penniless until you pass?
Of course, struggle and keep pushing yourself.
Right.
No doubt about that.
Right. So thank you, Naveen. I think it was a very inspirational interview. Youths like me are like really inspired from not only your achievements, your attitude, and your habits. So thanks a lot, Naveen.
No, thank you. Pleasure is mine, and good luck, and good luck with your journey.
Thank you, Naveen.
Thank you.